From the heart of Houston, it's fun, it's engaging, it's Chattin' with Chelsea. She's daytime's new bestie. Here's your host, Chelsea Edwards. Come back to me.
Hey, besties! Thank you for joining me for another Chattin' with Chelsea. I'm your host, Chelsea Edwards. I don't know why this outfit makes me want to do that, but we've got a great show for you today. We're talking some travel. We're whisking you away to vacay right in your kitchen. We've got a recipe from my good friend Rashad Jiles coming in, a food and travel creator. He's got a recipe that tastes like your grandma took a girls trip to Korea and came back and wished you on something, okay? It's really good. We're going to go through all that. Plus, we got some questions, like travel questions. What if you're in a relationship traveling? What if you're married and traveling? What if you're single and traveling and you're looking for your prince in a foreign land? We've got the relationship queen of talk, Nicole Scott, in to answer all our burning questions. Now, I will admit, I have not traveled a whole lot since becoming a mom. You know, I got a toddler now. I've only managed to get in maybe a couple of road trips because he can sit still for about 4 minutes. That's it. I counted. So I can do a road trip, but even then, it's a little different now. See, when I used to do road trips by myself, it'd just be me and the open road, my playlist. It'd be a lot of Jasmine Sullivan if I was in my feelings. And I play the same song over and over again. That's how I learned the lyrics to my favorite songs. Just hit repeat, singing along. I messed up that note. Repeat. Okay? So now that I have a toddler, I noticed I am doing a lot of repeat again on the same song. Now, do y'all remember that song when you were little? It was, we're going on a bear hunt. That's his jam right now. In our last road trip, we went on a bear hunt about 150 times. We found the bear over and over and over again because he just kept asking for it. I will say, trips are very different being a mom. What I could use is a girls trip. But if you're married, can you still take a girls trip?
Do married women go on girls trips? No, we do not. No, we do not. No, we do not. We don't go on girls trips. We don't do that. We married. We don't go on girls trips. What we looking for? Who we checking for? What? Go and spend time with our friends? No, thank you. We can spend time right here in the city. Where you want to go? Olive Garden, Red Lobster. Where we going? Brunch, Target, Walmart. You pick. Out the country, no.
All right, we got Nicole Scott here, queen of relationship talk, also one of the hosts of Ministry on Fox Soul and the Relationship Matters podcast. Okay, you were making some faces looking at that video. So
I was like, that sounds like that's boring.
What did you think about that?
Oh my God.
Is that a rule?
No, that's absolutely not a rule.
Same. I
Like,
feel the same.
married women need time away too to regroup and have some girl talk.
Yes.
Target, Red Lobster, are you serious?
It's not the same.
She's not painting a pretty picture at all.
Right? We can get away.
Yeah.
Just have our time.
Yes.
What about boys' trips? If a man is married, is it okay if he does a boys' trip as
Absolutely.
well? Okay.
He needs his time too away so
Yeah.
that when he comes back, he misses me even more.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You got my producer in my ear. Because she's a little biased. She says the girls' trips are okay.
Makes relationships seem so boring and mundane if you're saying we can't even go on a trip with our girls, with our guys. So we're just supposed to leave those relationships behind, no balance. Come on.
Right, yeah, and as you mentioned, it makes you miss your significant other more.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, all right, so let's get into a little bit of the travel talk, because travel with your partner, it seems like it could make or break some things.
Good. Yeah, that is the opportunity where you're spending an extended amount of time with your partner or significant other. So you're getting to know different habits and things that you typically don't get to see when you just see each other for a few hours.
Yes.
So it definitely can be a make or break thing.
Okay, what are your thoughts if you were taking that first trip with your boo, but you want to make sure that you got the right mindset?
Yes.
Y'all aren't going to fight the whole time.
Correct.
Are there ways that you might prepare ahead of time?
Well, we need to plan the trip. We need to have a conversation before we even get there about what is it that you like doing?
Yes.
Right? Do we have these things in common? Or am I going to try something new because you like it and maybe I've never tried it, or maybe I don't like it, but we can come to a compromise and decide this is what we're going to do when we get there, so there are no surprises being sprung up on us.
Yes, that is a good point. Because what if one of you is like the chill, laid back, I just want to be in the hotel room service all day, and the other one is, let's do all the things.
And see, I'm the let's do all the things. I'm not a water person. I can only do the beach one day. We're not sitting on the beach every day of the trip. That's not going to happen.
All right. I don't know if we could take a trip together, Chanel. I need to relax, okay? So I know we got some singles out there as well.
Absolutely.
Have you ever, like, you know, back in the day, maybe been on a trip and found you a little somebody?
You know what? I just went on a trip and met someone.
Oh, I'm loving this.
Yes, I met someone. I knew this gentleman in college, but I've been out of college for almost 30 years.
Okay.
So it was like getting to know someone all over again. And so that was quite interesting and refreshing, I must say.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. I'm feeling the chemistry as
Yes.
you talk about this. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with some more tips for traveling, whether you're single, just, I mean, maybe you're looking to mingle. Yeah, we'll be back. We're back with Chanel Scott. Okay, you were just telling me about meeting this gentleman while you were on a trip.
Yes.
Yeah, so what's the protocol? How does a relationship expert date?
She doesn't.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm a avid believer to tap into purpose before you even considering dating. So that way, when you connect with someone, you have these similar goals, similar values in common.
Yes.
So I typically don't do the traditional dating, like going to a bar, going out, you know. But I was at my college homecoming this past weekend. Went on a trip to the city where I went to college, and I was out in the lobby of the hotel, and organically I just ended up beside a gentleman, and we striked up some conversation. He knew who I was. He knew the type of work that I do, and he had some questions for me about relationships.
Nice.
And as the conversation ensued, you know, I was like, oh, this guy is interesting.
Yes. Okay. I like your strategy there,
Yes.
getting into the purpose. You know, people are going to wonder, is there a timeline for that? Or how do we know when we've gotten to that point and we want to move on to dating?
The thing is I'm intentional about purpose. So I'm not intentional about dating, if you will. Now, if I connect with someone and have that genuine connection, of course, I'm going to be intentional about getting to know this individual if I'm interested. But the act of going out to the club, going to the bar, that's not something that I am intentional about. Because I believe that if I'm operating in my purpose, then I'm going to come in contact with different people at different times. And so it's more organic and providential, if you will.
I like that.
And so when you're meeting these people and you're in purpose, you're not even thinking about dating them. You're just connecting on something else, something that we have in common with. And as you have this conversation, then you're like, ooh, he's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to know more. And then you prolong the conversation like I did.
Okay, I like it. All right. So let's say y'all prolong the conversation enough times and y'all want to go on your first trip together.
Okay.
We talked about, you know, planning and preparing. Once you're on that trip, you know, as a couple, how do you make sure things continue to go smoothly? Because, you know, simple things can lead to arguments when you are out of your regular environment.
Absolutely. So we have this conversation before we even go on the trip.
Okay.
We need to sit down and decide, what is it that you like to do, what is it that I like to do, and what is it that we're willing to try together, right? And so it may be something that you like to do that I've never tried, or maybe I have never taken interest in, but I'm agreeing like, hey, I'm willing to make the compromise, because that's important in relationship. That can transpose into something else where I'm willing to compromise, and then that person can see, okay, you know, it doesn't always have to be about her, or it doesn't always have to be about him, but we can come together and make this decision together.
Okay, it sounds like compromise is key.
Oh, it's definitely key in relationships.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So when you're traveling and let's say you do, like something does get started, an argument, neither person is budging, and we don't want to spend the whole trip mad at each other. What's your recommendation for moving forward?
You have to decide what's important.
Okay.
Is it important for me to be right or to stand on business, or is it important to continue to grow and pursue this relationship? It all depends on you, what you want. Do you want to be right, or do you want this relationship? Right? Or is it that important to just not budge? You're on a trip, you're supposed to be having a good time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what issue you would have that would make you say, you know what, I'm not budging. We out here and a million miles away from home, and I'm just going to be difficult.
Yeah.
No, you just decide what is important to you.
Right. Don't ruin it, okay?
Don't ruin it.
If a couple's been together a long time, or they're married, and you know they're taking the trip, but they're always together, do you recommend maybe some like solo adventure time at all? Is that allowed?
I think it's allowed. I think that if we have a level of trust and understanding, and we have communication about, like, you can't just be like, I'm out and I'll be back.
Peace. Going snorkeling.
No.
Okay.
We need to have a conversation, and then, you know, I think it's fine if you want to explore or go somewhere or do something. I may not even want to go. So, you know, I think that's okay as long as we have open, honest, and transparent, candid conversation.
All right. All right. Well, do you get a lot of people with kids? I talked a little bit about having one myself. It changes the dynamic if you're a couple and you have kids that you're taking on a trip. You know, how do you make sure that you're getting that solo time, the couple time in?
Right. So it depends on the age of the children.
Okay.
Right? Are they sharing a room? You know, do they have this own room? Do I need to leave them at home with mama? Yeah, that's something we have to discuss.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because sometimes, you need it.
Yeah, you
like
need
the whole
that.
trip.
You need your time as a couple. First of all, you need time away from the children. Absolutely, because you still have to nurture the relationship.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a conversation we have. Is this a children's trip where we're taking them to Disney and it's all about them, or do we need some time alone where we leave the children behind and you and I go?
Maybe we need to budget for 2 different trips in the year to make that happen. Okay,
Right.
yeah, that's the time to reconnect. Well, thank you so much for those tips. Okay, guys, we'll be back with that recipe I told you about. Grandma went to Korea and brought you something back. Now that we figured out how to travel with our partners, we want to travel in our kitchens.
Let's go.
Got one of my food besties. You know I got a lot of food besties.
I know,
but you are my foodie travel bestie, Rashad Jiles. And you have traveled the world, and now you have a new book out.
I do.
Oh, my goodness. Rashad Eats the World. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my new book is called Rashad Eats the World, Using Your Palate as a Passport.
Ooh.
So you can travel the world right in your kitchen.
We don't have to.
You don't have to go. I want you to go.
Okay.
But,
I know.
You know,
But
if you need to stay at home, you can go
for
too.
many of us who have to stay at home for now. Okay. All right, so you actually brought one of your recipes today.
I did.
All right, what we got?
All right, so today we are making kimchi and collards.
Kimchi and collards. Okay, where is this originating from? I mean, I know where the collards come from, but tell us about the rest of the inspiration.
All right, so a lot of times people like to mix their greens. So some people mix their cabbage with their greens, right? And kimchi is a Korean fermented cabbage.
Okay.
So it's Napa cabbage, and it also has some garlic in there, some chili flakes, and then they let it sit for up to a week. And all these gases release. It's really good for you.
I have heard that.
It's a great probiotic.
Yes.
It is, and it tastes really good too.
I love that. All right, you're getting us right from the inside out.
From the inside out.
Is this inspired by one of your trips?
I have never been to Korea, but I love Korean food.
Yes.
And, you know, I was like, add a little banchan to my collard greens.
Okay, all these things I'm going to learn about right now. What has been your favorite trip so far?
My favorite, I would probably have to say Thailand or Trinidad and Tobago.
Ooh,
Two of my favorites.
I have been to Trinidad and Tobago.
And you know that's a good time.
It's a time. You know how we do.
The soca's gonna get you going when you get to Trinidad.
Yes, indeed. All right, so let's get started on these greens.
Okay, so first things first, you want to pick a good batch of collard greens. So what I like to look for are like evenly green leaves. You don't want too many blemishes. You want them to be pretty firm.
I mean, that is something it's not my strong suit, I will say. Does it matter if it has, you know, little holes and things in them?
The little holes don't matter too much, but a nice full leaf is what you're going to be looking for, like this one right here.
Okay.
So if it looks like this,
That is
you're in
gorgeous. If
business.
it looks like you can fan yourself with it, you're good.
You're in business.
All right. So how many people are we feeding with these 3 bunches, Rashad?
So with these 3 bunches, you can feed about 4 people as a side dish.
Okay, and you're saving time with the store-bought kimchi. Are you also
Yes.
saving me money?
We're saving some money because greens don't actually cost that much. You can make this entire meal for about $15 to $20.
Works for me. So what do I do to prep these?
All right, so first things first, you want to clean your greens because they are going to be full of dirt. And what I like to do is I like to fill up one side of my sink, add a little salt because it's abrasive,
Yeah.
and I like to rinse them until the water runs clear. I've already cleaned these for you, and now we're going to do what we call picking our greens.
Okay.
Okay.
How many bunches of greens do we need for this recipe?
For this recipe, you need about 3 bunches.
Okay.
Because just like spinach or kale, once it cooks, it's going to cook down, and so you're going to be like, I had all those greens, and
what
where'd they
happened?
go?
I'm still hungry.
So you're gonna need about 3 bunches.
Okay.
Right? And I'll show you how to pick them.
All right.
So we have our cleaned collard greens, and what I like to do is flip them over, and then I like to take my knife and just run it down the vein, just like that.
Okay.
So the vein you can eat, but it's pretty fibrous, and it's, it's not that good.
Okay.
So then I just flip it like that, and then I give it a roll.
Oh, okay.
And give it a roll.
Where did you learn this technique?
My mom.
My mama. I knew it. My mama.
And then we're just gonna make a few little cuts, and we call this a chiffonade.
Ooh,
Just like that.
fancy.
I'll let you chiffonade.
All right, I shall chiffonade. Okay, I love
So you just make you a little thin strip, just
Okay.
like that.
I
Now-
love how you combine your family knowledge. Okay, so do I have to chiffonade this as well?
No,
Are you
I
gonna-
got you on the
Okay,
next one.
thanks.
I got you on the next one. So we'll move along.
All right, appreciate
So
it.
in my recipe, I make my turkey stock from scratch.
Okay.
But if you don't have the time for that, a store-bought chicken stock works just as well.
Save us some time. We
So we're
appreciate
just gonna
that.
add that. We're gonna add our chicken stock, and then we're gonna add some spices as well.
We're doing this whole carton here. All right.
And then we're gonna go ahead and add our greens because
Okay, I can do that.
got it all boiling, right? And so
Okay.
we let that go.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we'll take out our turkey from our turkey stock, and then we'll just pick that. And so we'll have some meaty greens. I like a little meat in my greens.
Yes. Now, what other seasonings do you usually use with your greens?
Now, what I will say,
Wait, I love how you like, oh, hold on a second. Like
It's
you got
in
a
the book.
mouthful, right? Yes, it's in the book.
but one thing I really love is the turkey stock gives it a whole lot of flavor.
Okay.
When it's smoked, it has a lot of salt in there already, so I definitely add some salt. Garlic powder and onion powder are always a thing. In my book, I also have a house seasoning, which is simply, it's a freebie, y'all.
Okay, okay.
It's simply kosher salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And you
Nice.
can literally season almost any savory dish with it. And those are key components. And one of my secrets is a little bit of brown sugar.
A little bit of brown. Oh,
little bit of
I
brown
like
sugar,
that.
bro, a little
Okay.
bit of brown
Well,
sugar.
appreciate you coming giving the secrets out. We appreciate and it feels like that's something you can make ahead of time and just keep in a jar
yep.
or something. And
I keep
and
it
be
right on the
ready.
side of my stove, and then just a little pinch here and there when I need it.
Yes, save us some time. Okay, all right. So we got that boiling, and then what's next?
What's next? Now we're gonna add our kimchi.
Okay.
Now, there is a recipe for the kimchi in the book as well.
All right.
But kimchi is a labor of love.
Okay.
So if you don't want to make your kimchi from scratch, you can absolutely buy store-bought kimchi because it's just as good.
So the kimchi, if you are making it from scratch, what exactly do you need for that? I know it's in the book, but give us an idea.
So the kimchi is going to be your Napa cabbage, which is a little more thin. It has less of a bite than your regular cabbage that you might find in the grocery store. It also has some carrots, some garlic, some chili flakes. So you can make it as spicy or as mild as you want. And it also has some fish sauce in there for a little funkiness.
Okay, we don't mind a little funk.
You know, a little bit of fun.
How long does it take if you're doing that from scratch?
From start to finish, it takes about 3 days.
Ooh, okay.
To prepare the kimchi because you have to let it sit and let all those juices get to forming and start to let it ferment.
Okay, and then give it affirmations in the meantime, like you're going to be delicious.
You're going to be the best
You are
kimchi I've
powerful.
ever made.
Yes. I cannot mess with you. Okay, so after we add the kimchi, we can add that.
Yep.
All right.
Add the kimchi right
Bam.
in there. And You just let that go. And the kimchi is already flavored, right? So it has some spices in there. It has that little umami, that funk from the fish sauce, some chili, so it's going to give it a little bit of a kick. And that's also going to help season your greens.
Excellent. And then how long are we letting it cook?
So you let your greens, you want to cook them for about 2.5 to 3 hours, especially collard greens. Collard greens are a little more fibrous, so they take a little longer to cook down, and they can be a little bit bitter, which is nice to have your kimchi because it has some acid that's going to take away from that bitterness, and also that brown sugar takes away from the bitterness as well.
All right, covered, uncovered.
All right, you want to cover that up.
Cover that
You wanna
up.
cover that up.
Get it,
and
let
your house
it get
is the initial smell might be a little off-putting. I can't even
little
lie to
funk.
you. But then it's going to start to perfume your house, and it's going to smell like the holidays, and it's going to smell delicious.
Yes. Okay. Well, I cannot wait to make this at home.
Yes.
Since we've been talking about travel, I got to know, what's your next trip coming up? You got some plans?
Well, cat's out the bag. I plan on going to Mexico City
Yes.
for a month to explore Mexican cuisine.
Okay.
So that means I'm coming back to the States with some recipes.
Yes. Okay. Can I join you? Can I go with you?
on, let's
Okay. All right.
go.
I don't know if I can do a month, but you know, we have a good time. All right. Tell people where to find your book.
You can find my book on all my social media platforms by clicking the link in the bio. And yeah, it's there and ready to purchase. And there's some good stuff in there.
Yes, at Rashad Eats the World. Yeah, y'all check them out. It's some good stuff, and you have a lot of fun. All right, thank you so much. And you guys check out the book. We'll be back with a taste test after this break. All right, let's go ahead and get in. We got Chanel back for this taste test. Yes. Rashad, you have taken us places.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. I want to thank both of you for being on today's Chattin' with Chelsea episode. You guys keep up with us on Chelsea Show Fox. That's the social media. We'll also have this recipe up there and the link to Rashad's book. All right, we'll see you. Okay.